Hi, I'm Kate Appleton, the editorial director of Tatler's Front and Female platform, which celebrates trailblazing women in Hong Kong and across Asia. I'll be chatting with one of them today, Hong Kong hero Siobhan Haughey. Siobhan captured our hearts at the recent Tokyo Olympics when she won silver medals in the 100 and 200-meter women's freestyle events. She wasn't done yet, though. She went on to make history at the end of 2021, setting a new record for the women's 200-meter freestyle. It's been a rough couple years, so her news comes as a really welcome dose of positivity and inspiration. So the theme of our conversation today will be sustainability. What does it take to achieve such a high level of performance and sustain that day in and day out over years? How do you build the necessary mental resilience? We'll also have some fun getting to know Siobhan and find out what advice she has for the next generation. Siobhan Haughey, it's so great to meet you in person. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know each other better, and I thought we could kick things off with some icebreaker questions.
Okay.
Cool. All right, here we go. So, would you say you're more of a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person.
If you are meeting friends, would you rather do a group meetup or one-on-one?
One-on-one, definitely.
So, are we going to say introvert or extrovert?
Introvert. Very introvert.
Okay. Board games or video games?
Board games.
Any favorites?
I recently played Codenames, and I really like that one. It's basically where you have teams, and you're trying to guess a card, but you can only say one word, and then your teammates have to guess which card you're talking about, and it's pretty fun to play with a big group of people.
If you could time travel, would you rather go back to the past or ahead to the future?
Back to the past. I would like to see what it's like with no technology, and just see how people live.
We'll get into both the past and the present and future today in our chat. And now I'd love to just start at the beginning and hear a bit about how you first got into swimming and what some of your early memories are.
Yeah, so I started swimming because my parents thought that swimming is an important life skill, and especially living in Hong Kong where we have so many beaches, they want to make sure that if I go out to the beach or to the pool, I at least know how to swim or float.
Survive.
Yeah, survive, exactly. So then they just brought me to the pool, and they started teaching me how to swim, actually, and my sister. And my sister is 2 years older than me, and so when she was around 4 or 5, my parents thought that they couldn't really teach her anymore because she would just like mess around instead of like actually learning how to swim. So then they took her to a swim club nearby and for her to take swim lessons. So then when I was around 4, I started swimming as well. I started off with the swim lessons, and then after I think a few years of the swim lessons, you can advance to the swim team, and so I just joined the swim team and just have been swimming ever since.
So what do you think were some of the benefits that you got out of swimming and any other sports that you did as a kid?
I think there were so many things that I learned from being in sports. First was I made a lot of friends. Not only did I have friends in school, I also had friends in swimming and all the other sports that I did. I also did dance and a little bit of rugby growing up. So I had a pretty big friend group. It's also just really fun. Like, you get to work out, but as a kid, you have so much energy and you just love to move around, run around, and do different things. And so I think it was great that I was working out, but it didn't feel like it. It was because it was fun. It was like a game to me. And I think it definitely learned how to be a very disciplined person and also have really great time management, especially growing up, going to local school. You know, school isn't easy, and so you really have to know how to prioritize your time and know the right thing to do at the right time. I would definitely encourage young kids to be in sports as well.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's not a professional athlete, I can say that all of those skills are really, really valuable just in general for getting through life. And I think for girls especially, there can be a real value in playing sports.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I was lucky that I grew up in an environment where no one ever told me, like, you can't do this because you're a girl, or you can only do this because you're a girl. I did everything. I played rugby because my dad used to play rugby, so he wanted my sister and I to play rugby just to try it. I never thought that I was limited in my ability to do anything, and so growing up, I always had this thought that I can do anything, like I am capable of doing anything, and I still think that's true right now.
Yeah, that's such an amazing kind of perspective to have and a confidence to have, from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, you shared some favorite photos with us, and one of them, I believe, is you doing rugby. Is that right?
Yes. So this is me and my sister. We were so cute back then. Yeah. So I played rugby up until I think I was around 10, and then it did get a little aggressive for me. So my swim coach was also told me that, if you want to be serious in swimming, maybe you should tone down in the rugby side, don't get hurt. So then I stopped rugby, but my sister played for a few more years, so it was just great memories.
What about sort of other mentors or coaches you've had in your life? Like, what's some of the best advice you've received?
I think one of the most memorable advice I've received is from my coach in my university, and he told me this in 2019 after the World Championships, where I came fourth, and I was really, really close from medaling and being on the podium. And he told me that, okay, from now on, moving forward, you have to improve, but actually, it's not really a daunting thing. You just have to think about being 1% better every time. No matter what you're doing, just think about how you can improve by 1%. And the way he said it, it made it sound like, it's pretty easy because, you're not thinking about like making drastic changes and all these huge things that you have to do. You're just thinking about, I just have to be 1% better every time. And so since then, every time I show up to the pool, whether it's my technique or anything that I'm doing, I just think about being 1% better. And in the pool, out of the pool, I just find the little areas that I can do better, and at the end of the day, I think it'll all add up. And at the Tokyo Olympics, I did 1% better, and it actually, when we did the math and we looked at my times, I was actually 1% better. And so
Wow.
I still remember the day he told me that, and now not only do I apply this to swimming, I also apply it to everything that I do. I just have to be 1% better every time.
Could you talk a bit about how passion drives you or where your motivation comes from?
Yeah, I think passion plays a huge factor in my swimming career and in my success, because I have this passion, I'm willing to go above and beyond to achieve my goals and to make things perfect and to strive for excellence. And I'm not swimming because of the rewards that I might get at the end of it, like the medals, the records, not that. I'm swimming because I actually love swimming. And that's why I'm willing to put my body through all this hard training, no matter how tired I am or how hard training is. I will always show up to the pool because I love doing it. And I think this is where I see my value on passion aligns with Chanel. Chanel has this really long history of being one of the top clothing brands and luxury brands in the world because they're willing to go above and beyond for women and for them to feel confident and feel beautiful. And take their new beauty skincare line, Numéro 1 de Chanel. When it comes to the ingredients, they made sure they use organic, sustainably sourced ingredients. And their main ingredient in the skincare line, the red camellia, they made sure they use most of the flour in the ingredients and in the packaging so that they're not wasting anything. And when it came to the packaging, they made the jars and the bottles a lot lighter, and they, instead of printing out paper leaflets, they made it into QR codes so that everything is lighter and it's a lot more, it's better for the environment and they can reduce their carbon footprint. So you can see their attention to detail is remarkable. They thought of every single part of it, And it's kind of like swimming, you know? When I'm swimming, I'm thinking about every part of what I'm doing, whether it's the angle of my catch, the number of strokes I take, when do I breathe, how many kicks do I do. You have to think about every part of it. And if you don't enjoy it and if you don't like it, you don't have passion towards it, you won't spend this much energy into thinking all these things. So I think without passion, it's really hard to have success.
Yeah, I think you articulated that really well. And I think another thing I would say is you mentioned the camellia flower, and from what I understand, it is quite resilient, right? It has to bloom in very tough conditions. And so probably for you as an athlete, there's the passion part and then there's the resilience part too, right? You need both, I would think, to succeed.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, it's not always rainbow and sunshines in being an athlete. You can't always just keep dropping times and keep improving. There are definitely periods of times where you're not improving, you're swimming slow. And sometimes that can be a day, a week, sometimes it can last a year. So you never know. And without that resilience, it's hard to keep going forward. So I think resilience and positivity, they kind of go hand in hand.
Could you talk a little bit more about sort of who's in your support network? I saw you shared this great message for International Women's Day about the power of kindness and women uplifting other women and supporting each other. So just curious to know who are some of the important women in your life and who's in that support network, who's been there for you.
Yeah, so I went to an all-girls school for my primary school and secondary school.
And so did I.
Oh, what a coincidence. And in university, I went to University of Michigan. It's a really big school, but I trained with the women's swim team. And so since a very young age, I was constantly surrounded by women and girls. And I know what a powerful thing it is when women uplift each other and support each other. And I really felt that, especially during my college days, especially going all the way to a different country for school and going through a different kind of training. And I was so grateful that I had my teammates there. They definitely helped me a lot. So in my support group and in my support system, I definitely have my teammates because they see me all the time. Twice a day, 3 times a day at the pool, and even outside of the pool. So they're really important to me, especially if I'm going through a hard time in training. You know, even just a line of, "Hey, come on, you got this, keep going," during practice definitely helps me a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, my family, my parents and my sister, they have been there since day one. And my parents would. Pre-pandemic, my parents would go to all of the swim meets that I go to, whether it's a local swim meet or an international swim meet, like the Olympics or World Championships. They love flying to that country to support me. They let me know that my performance in the pool is not linked to my worth or their love for me. And of course, my coaches, they also see me every day, and they, you know, sometimes you need your coach to tell you that you can do this, you need to believe in yourself when you don't believe in yourself.
Siobhan, you were just telling me about your parents being part of your support network and coming to visit you as well for your different competitions or important events. I'd love if you could tell us about what's going on in this photo and what it means to you.
Yeah, so this is at my college graduation at the University of Michigan. And my parents came all the way from Hong Kong to the US to attend my graduation ceremony, and it's really special and really meaningful to me because I actually never attended a graduation ceremony before because in my kindergarten graduation we had SARS. My primary school graduation we had swine flu, and then for my secondary school graduation I already went to the US at that time. So it's my first ever graduation. I'm glad I get to share it with my parents, and they've been through so much with me, and have been so supported throughout my college career. And I remember as a freshman, there were nights where I had to go out of my dorm room. I had a roommate. I had to go out of my dorm room and call my mom while crying, telling her like, "This is too hard. I kind of want to come home." And she said, "Yeah, you know you can come home. You can always come home, but is this really what you want? Like, if you come home, will you ever achieve your goals, your dreams? And, it's just really special that I get to share it with them.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. You stuck it out and look what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad my mom told me to stay.
That sounds like about the nicest way she could have said, don't come back.
Yeah.
What about when it comes to sort of competition, to race day? How do you prepare? What does that look like?
Yeah, actually, when I compete, I like to not think about anything. Throughout the years, I realized that the more I think, the more nervous I get. So I choose to not do anything and not think about anything. And one thing that I like to do, especially if I have to travel somewhere for a competition, I like to walk around, explore the city before the competition. So it kind of relax my mind and get my mind off of the nervousness of racing, and I actually get to enjoy the city and go sightseeing. Traveling is part of the job, so I have to take full use. I have to take full use of that.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way for me to relax before all the nervousness happens.
Are there other passions that you enjoy in your downtime?
One book that I read recently that I really enjoyed is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and there are so many great things he talked about in the book on how small habits that you do every day can lead to great success. And I think it's a great book for everyone to read. And I also like listening to different podcasts, psychology related, maybe children related, because that's what I studied in university. So one podcast that I really enjoyed is Hidden Brain. So
NPR.
NPR, yes, exactly. And so basically they try to use some psychology theories and apply it to what's happening in the world right now, or apply to human behavior. So it's a nice way to explore psychology, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, and is that something that you see yourself doing in the future, building on this psychology degree from undergrad?
Yeah, so I definitely want to work in a few that's related to psychology and kids and child development in the future, because I studied child psychology in college, and throughout my college experience, I also had a lot of opportunities working with kids of different age groups, and I'm really interested in that, so hopefully I can continue on with that in the future.
Oh, amazing. A whole nother career, right?
Yes, hopefully.
Are there things that you still would like to accomplish first in swimming?
I think so, but I'm trying not to set very specific goals for myself right now, because I never want to limit myself. I don't know how far this career will take me and where it will take me, but I know that as of right now I can still improve, and I know I can get better. So I never want to say, like, this is my goal, like a very specific goal. I just want to see where it takes me, and hopefully I can just keep getting better, keep getting faster.
Yeah, I quite like that, right? I mean, why even do 1% better? Maybe you can do 3% better.
Exactly. I mean, the faster you get, the harder it is to improve, but
Okay, that's
yeah. Maybe, yeah.
You've had such an amazing past sort of 6-9 months, the 2 Olympic medals, the world record in the 200-meter freestyle. Could you talk a little bit about what was going through your mind at that time? I'm trying to imagine you in the pool doing your strokes. You touch the wall, you see that you've set a new world record. What goes through your head at a moment like that?
Yeah, so I think in order to talk about this experience, I have to bring it back a little bit. So the competition was in December, and throughout October and November, I had been going to different competitions as well. And there were, I think, 2 or 3 times where I was really close to breaking the world record. I think I was 0.2 seconds off, which is really, really close. And every time that happens, people around me keep saying, oh, you'll do it, you'll break it next time. And so I keep telling myself, yeah, I'll break it next time, like next time I'll do it. But then at the World Championships, at the meet in December, I decided to not think about it, because even though everyone around me kept telling me I can do it, this is the time you're gonna break it, I just tell myself, okay, don't think about it. Just think about your stroke, think about what you have to do, your turn, your breathing, all these details, instead of thinking about the one big thing, the one big obvious thing. And so I didn't think about the world record at all, and I just went in, did my race, did everything that I have to do. I touched the wall and I saw, oh, finally, it finally happened. And even though I broke it by, I was just slightly faster than the world record, but a world record is a world
That's all
record.
you need.
Exactly. And I was kind of relieved, I guess, in a way, because I've been working towards it for so long, and I was always so close, and this time I finally made it, and it was just a great feeling. It was amazing, and even though I still had races in the following days, I tried to celebrate a little bit, and then had to put my brain back into, okay, race mode, because we have to race again tomorrow.
Obviously, with all these records, you've become more famous, you're in the spotlight, you're also an introvert. How have you navigated that? Has that been challenging for you? How are you handling the fame and also some of the social media attention?
I think my mindset kind of shifted in the past few months. During the whole Olympics, I barely checked my phone. I turned off all the notifications for my social media, because that's what I typically do at big races. I don't really like to look at my phone because I think it's a distraction. So after the Olympics, I was really grateful that people sent me all these messages, and so I felt the need to reply to every single one of them.
Oh, wow.
But it just took me just an hour to scroll through the bottom of the list to read the first message. An hour just scrolling.
Oh my God.
So that was how many messages I got. But I think I did my best, and I replied to almost all of them. It took a very long time.
Siobhan.
I know,
That's
but
amazing. And also not sustainable. but
exactly. But I just feel like, I've never received this much love and support from people before, from the public. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to do something nice and let them know that I really appreciated them. But then, I realized it wasn't really sustainable. If I'm free, I'll go and read the comments, read the messages, and let them know, like, hey, thank you. But I won't, sit there for 5 hours straight just replying to everyone.
Even the fact that you did that initially, I think is amazing and says a lot about you as a person, really.
Oh, thank you. Well, I also was in quarantine after Tokyo when we came back to Hong Kong, so I had
time to kill.
Yeah, exactly. I had a lot of time, and that was one of the things that I
Yeah,
did.
But what a nice way to spend your time. And how meaningful, even if it's just a quick thank you. I'm sure each of those people were so thrilled to hear back from you.
Yeah, but I was also really thrilled and really happy that, that I got so much love and support from people, because it's insane. Who would have thought that a swimmer can receive all this kind of attention? But also, like you said, as an introvert, it took me a while to adjust, and I think especially with how well the Hong Kong athletes did at the Tokyo Olympics, everyone is more interested in athletes' life and what it's like, what their training is like, what do they do when they're not training. They want to know a lot of things. And so from time to time, if I think it's something interesting and I feel comfortable posting, I would share it with, my followers and with people. And because I think I want to feel connected with them, and they want to feel connected with me. I want them to know that I'm not Superwoman. I don't just swim all the time. I sort of have a life outside of swimming, and I do different things too. And I want them to know that, I am human too, and I'm just like them. So I like to share, parts and glimpses of my life with them. But as an introvert, I also like to keep my life pretty private, and there are certain things where I know I would rather not share online and just enjoy it in the moment, instead of taking my phone out and taking all the pictures. So I think it took me a while to find a balance between the two, but I'm slowly getting there.
Amazing. Well, Siobhan, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me today. It's been such a treat.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me today and giving me this chance to share my story, and hopefully people can take something out of it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.